3 years since I have bought a home. I can't even believe where the time has gone. I'm 3 years older. Let's start there. But I know some of you are asking for a recap, reminder, refresh, update. That's what you were asking for. So let's get right into the start, shall we? Thank you for watching another Millennial in Debt video. If you are new here, hit that subscription button below and turn on the notification bell so you get every single time I upload a video. 3 years? I've been doing an adult thing for 3 years. The nerve. Okay, let's reel in the drama, Melissa. So, like I mentioned, I have owned a home for 3 years. I bought my home back January 17th, 2019. You would think that day would be ingrained in my brain since it was the day I signed up for another loan, another debt. Even though I had paid off my loans, $102,000 worth of student loans, just the month prior, I signed on and closed on a mortgage for a home. I'm at work. Today is Tuesday, January 15th. We are 2 days away from my closing, from my first house. So I live in a co-op. So if you're unfamiliar, because New York really has a lot of co-ops. Co-ops are very similar to condos. They have a board. You have to get approved. You have certain requirements you have to follow. Most co-ops and condos require 20%. Actually, condos can do an SHA and get a 3.5. But yes, co-ops mostly require 20% down. They do check all the things banks check. And then, it's like that. So I do have a maintenance team that helps with shoveling the snow, mowing the grass, taking away the garbage, things like that. But everything else I am responsible for, just like a homeowner. So something breaks, the bathroom needs to be done, floor needs to be redone. It is my responsibility. Not something that I really truly think I was prepared for. So I've spoken a lot about, my experience being a homeowner, and I do not want to come off as someone who is not happy or not content in making a decision or being able to do something that so many people want to do and are often, locked out of the experience for tons of systemic situations, student loans, things like that. So I am very grateful that I've had the opportunity to be a homeowner. I am very grateful to have had the experience. Of course, there are things that I wish I could have done differently. There's also things I wish I would have known more. And so one of my true missions ever since I became a homeowner was really, really, really to present a realistic, experience so people aren't going in the same way that I did, right? Especially as a first generation Haitian American. It's always been go to school, get a job, buy a house, boom, American dream. And obviously with the go to school, get a job, it's student loans are going to come in. And then it's also you're going to actually learn about mortgages and things that you didn't know, or that, your parents just didn't experience since they, bought a home in a much different time. So that has been my goal. And I feel like I've done a pretty great job of talking about the benefits and the things that I do like about being a homeowner, and also talking about the things that are often hush-hush or often glamorized, even though they can be very, 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 very difficult. And I am not one of those homeowners that thinks homeownership is the end-all be-all. I don't think it's the only way to, gain generational wealth or build generational wealth. I do think you can, do that differently. So that is where I'm at, in the whole personal finance sphere, on home ownership versus renting. So a lot of times people will ask, do I wish that I had rented before I purchased? It's difficult to say, because I know that when I was planning to buy a home, I was really, really, really against renting, because I used to think about it in the same way, because it's what I was taught, right? It's what was ingrained in me, that I used to view renting as a waste of money. I do not view that like that anymore. I don't think paying for somewhere to live, paying for housing is ever a waste of money. So no, I do not think renting is a waste of money. I do think renting would have been a great step for me to take so I can learn the vibes, essentially the responsibilities that come along with no longer living with your parents, which is not something that I've ever experienced outside of the years that I dormed on campus and college. And so I do wish maybe I had rented in order to gain that experience of independence and what it truly means to have to cook and clean for yourself, do your own laundry, and just do that. And also have the support of a landlord who, if my toilet seat broke, they would come fix it, and just I had all the realms of adulthood kind of just jumping at one time of being a homeowner, fixing things on your own, dealing with problems on your own, and also navigating what it means to be a truly independent, responsible adult. So I definitely do think I would have rented if I decided to do this a little differently. I do think I've learned a lot, similarly to the lessons I learned when paying off my student loans. I learned a lot about myself with money and finances. I learned a lot about what I can and can't do, or what I don't want to do, honestly, because I'm sure I could do it, but I don't want to. And I learned a lot more about problem solving and how to kind of keep your cool and stay calm and really truly believe that things will work themselves out. Sometimes it's not going to be as pleasant as others. Sometimes it's going to be surprisingly pleasant. But just understanding that now as a homeowner, a lot more things are out of my control. A lot more things are going to be an expense. I'm responsible for a lot more things than just myself. So I'm happy about learning those responsibilities, as difficult as some of them may have been. I am happy with the wealth of knowledge and experience that I've had as a homeowner. Does that mean that I want things to kick up a notch and get more difficult? No, I do not. I also am happy to own a piece of land in a time when real estate is going kind of crazy, right? And rent and mortgages and rates are just not on the buyer side, right? Right now it's definitely a seller's market or owner's market. So I'm happy to own a piece of land. Still in a time and space where I feel that you should be a homeowner, or you should consider homeownership if you want to plant roots. I still have no idea where I want to go and where I want to be. And I'm very fortunate to now have a job that is 100% remote. So I can live anywhere. I could be anywhere. And of course, my home is kind of like a ball and chain right now, because I'm in that space where I'm like, I could just sell it. You could sell it. You could turn a profit and you wouldn't have to deal with this, and you can go about your way and live wherever you want to live, which is definitely true. And then I'm like, you could rent it, but then you also don't want to be a landlord at all, right? So you get a project manager, a property manager. And then I'm like, but then I have to pay. Like, there's just so many thoughts and conflicting thoughts, people offering solutions. But I do feel like I potentially maybe want to keep this co-op, pass it down to a younger generation. I don't know what I want to do with it, but I know sometimes I look at it as burdensome, which is a privilege. It's a privileged burden. So that's how I'm feeling about that. I will say that a lot of the major big things that I spent the first 2-3 years fixing, because I do live in an older co-op, I'm happy that they are fixed. I love my updated kitchen. I love my updated bathroom. The washer and dryer laundry room is updated. The floors are updated. So I'm happy that I've gotten a majority of the really big problems out of the way. Knock on wood. I don't need anything to break or. So that's how I'm feeling. It's, I still feel like I rushed into homeownership because it was the next thing to do. I still feel like I needed more preparation. I needed to learn more. I should have maybe gone the renting route the first, maybe 6 to 8 months. But I've fallen more into sometimes this really does feel like home, where I think my first 2 years I was just like, this just feels like a place I live that is killing me. So it does still feel homish right now. It's feeling homish, which is a nice safety, of course, right? You want your home to feel like your blanket. But I don't know what I'm going to do with it still. It still hasn't reached a place where I'm just like, this is my home and I'm going to keep it forever. Or if I'm just like, peace out, going to rent for the rest of my life. So I don't know. And will I buy another property? I don't know. I don't know anything. But this was the update y'all asked for. This is the update I've got. Please feel free to leave any questions you might have on Instagram, TikTok, below. And I'll answer as many as I can. And there you have it. Bye.